Allie stood at the edge of her school's main entrance, her heart pounding in her chest. The familiar red brick building loomed above her, its ivy-covered walls a stark reminder of the many years she had spent within. The early morning sun cast long shadows on the ground, and the air filled with crisp scent of fall. Today marked the beginning of her final year, 12th grade. It was supposed to be exciting, but all Allie felt was a gnawing sense of dread. Taking a deep breath, she adjusted the straps of her backpack and stepped forward. This is it, she whispered to herself. The final year. The words felt heavy on her tongue, laden with the weight of expectation and uncertainty. For months, she thought of senior year had loomed over her, a blend of promise and pressure. The anticipation of graduation and the fear of the future collided tightly in her chest. As she walked through the halls, familiar faces greeted her with nods and smiles. Friends she had known since elementary school waved and called her name. But today, those gestures felt different. Allie couldn't shake the feeling that everything was changing, that this year was a pivotal moment that would determine her path in life. In her first class, English literature, she slid into a seat near the window. The room slowly filled with chatter as students took their places. Mrs. Reynolds, a teacher known for her passion and strictness, began to speak, welcoming the class back and outlining the syllabus. Allie tried to focus, but her mind drifted. What if they forget about me? She thought, her gaze fixed on the pages of her notebook. The idea of being forgotten after graduation gnawed at her. She had always been quiet, more of an observer than a participant. While she had friends, she feared she hadn't made a lasting impact. The bell rang, jolting her from her thoughts. Allie gathered her things and headed for her next class, her steps heavy with worry. As the day progressed, the same thoughts plagued her. Lunch brought a temporary reprieve. Allie joined her friends at the usual table, the conversation light and filled with summer stories. Emily, her best friend, noticed Allie's quietness. "Hey, you okay?" Emily asked, her voice filled with concern. Allie forced a smile. "Yeah, just thinking about this year. It's our last one, you know." Emily nodded, her expression softening. "I know. It's kind of scary, isn't it? But we'll get through it together. Besides, we have so many memories already. No one's gonna forget you, Allie." Allie appreciated Emily's words, but the fear lingered. That night, as she lay in bed, she thought about what she could do to ensure she wasn't forgotten. Maybe she needed to step out of her comfort zone, to participate more, to leave a mark. The weeks that followed saw Allie pushing herself in ways she hadn't before. She joined the yearbook committee, determined to capture the essence of their final year. She signed up for the school play, even though the thought of performing terrified her. Slowly, she found herself becoming more involved, more visible. Her efforts didn't go unnoticed. Teachers praised her initiative, and her peers saw her in a new light. She was no longer just the quiet girl in the back of the class. She was a vital part of their community. One afternoon, as Allie was working on the yearbook layout in the library, Mrs. Reynolds approached her. "Allie, I've noticed how much you've been contributing lately. I wanted to let you know how proud I am of you." Allie felt a warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds. That means a lot." Mrs. Reynolds smiled. "You're making a difference, Allie. Keep it up." Despite her newfound confidence, the challenges of senior year were daunting. college applications, scholarship essays, and the pressure to maintain good grades weighed heavily on her. There were days when she felt overwhelmed, when the fear of failure loomed large. One such day, after receiving a lower than expected grade on a math test, Allie found herself in the school courtyard, tears stinging her eyes. Emily found her there, sitting on a bench, staring at the crumpled test paper. "Hey," Emily said softly, sitting next to her. "Rough day?" Allie nodded, wiping her eyes. "I just feel like I'm not good enough. What if I don't get into college? What if all this effort is for nothing?" Emily put her arm around her. "Allie, you're one of the smartest, most dedicated people I know. One bad grade doesn't define you. You've got this." Allie took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. "Thanks, Emily. I needed to hear that." With her friend's encouragement, Allie pushed through the rough patch. She sought help from her teachers, attended study sessions, and gradually improved her grades. Each small victory bolstered her confidence. As the months passed, Allie and her friends found themselves immersed in a whirlwind of senior activities, homecoming, pep rallies, and countless late-night study sessions. The closer they got to graduation, the more Allie realized how much these moments meant to her. One evening, while working on the yearbook with her committee, Allie suggested a section dedicated to personal reflections from the seniors. "I think it would be nice for everyone to share their favorite memories and hopes for the future," she said. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and soon they were collecting heartfelt stories from their classmates. Reading through them, Allie felt a deep connection to her peers. They had all grown up together, shared triumphs and struggles, and now they were on the brink of a new chapter. The school play was another milestone for Allie. She had never imagined herself on stage, but there she was, rehearsing lines and practicing scenes. The experience was nerve-wracking, yet exhilarating. She found support in her fellow cast members, and slowly her fear of performing faded. Opening night arrived, and Allie stood backstage, her heart racing. Emily, who had come to support her, gave her a reassuring smile. "You're going to be amazing," she whispered. When Allie stepped onto the stage, the bright lights momentarily blinded her. But as she delivered her lines, she felt a surge of confidence. The audience applause at the end was a sound she would never forget. It was a testament to her growth, her willingness to face her fears head on. Senior prom was another highlight. Allie spent hours getting ready with her friends, the excitement palpable. As she danced the night away, she realized how far she had come. She was surrounded by people who cared about her, who had shared this journey with her. In a quiet moment on the balcony, Emily joined her. "Can you believe this is almost over?" she asked. Allie shook her head. "No, it's gone by so fast, but I'm glad we have these memories." Emily smiled. "Me too. And no matter what happens after graduation, we'll always have this." The day of graduation arrived, a mix of joy and sadness hanging in the air. Allie put on her cap and gown, the weight of the moment sinking in. As she walked across the stage to receive her diploma, the applause and cheers from her friends and family filled her with a sense of accomplishment. Looking out into the crowd, she saw Emily, her parents, and even some teachers smiling proudly. Allie knew that this was just the beginning. The future was still uncertain, but she had learned to embrace the unknown. After the ceremony, as she mingled with her classmates, taking pictures and exchanging hugs, Allie felt a deep sense of gratitude. She had made the most of her final year, and she realized that being remembered wasn't just about grand gestures or being the center of attention. It was about the connections she made, the lives she touched in small but meaningful ways. Standing with Emily, Allie took one last look at the school that had been her home for so many years. "We did it," she said, a smile spreading across her face. Emily nodded. "We sure did. And the best part? This is just the beginning." Allie knew that no matter where life took her, she wouldn't be forgotten. She had made a difference both in her own life and in the lives of those around her. As she stepped forward into the future, she felt a newfound confidence, ready to face whatever came next.